Go.
Hello, my name is Linda Prager. I am a ceramic artist, a member artist at Frank Gallery, and one of the featured artists in our current show. I am so pleased to have my work featured at Frank along with all the other amazing art in the gallery. First, let me say that I love working with clay. It's a material that lets me create pieces that can be used in people's day-to-day lives, as well as bring beauty into their living spaces. While I have created purely sculptural pieces, most of my pieces are functional, intending to be used. Think about when you hold a mug of tea or coffee in your hands as you drink, how the flowers you just got from the farmer's market look in the vase that sits on your table, and how you arrange the food on the plate before you. This is why I like to make functional pieces. But let me talk about the work in this show specifically and how I chose the work to be included. It's a bit of a journey and has to do with the pandemic. One thing I was able to take advantage of during the pandemic, thanks to the wonders of Zoom, is that I had the opportunity to study with amazing teachers who had been geographically out of my reach. I have experimented with printing on clay for many years, but during the pandemic, I was able to take several online classes that focused on different printing techniques, several of which were new to me. These classes gave me new ideas about how I could incorporate this technique into my current work, and reignited my interest in using printing on the surfaces of my pieces. I love all aspects of working with clay, from the forming of the pieces all the way to finalizing the surfaces, and I love marrying my forms with the surfaces that will enhance them. The pieces in this show were all built with slabs of clay, which are flat pieces of clay rolled out to about 1/4 inch thickness. I cut out the shapes using templates that I had designed. I wanted forms that were both geometric and angular, as I felt these would give the best surfaces to add to the printed imagery. So I started to plan an experiment. As I was experimenting with this process, I used different materials to print onto the clay. For some pieces, I used different types and sizes of leaves, but for this body of work, I created different shapes with newsprint. This allowed me to place the shapes on the pieces, move them around without committing to a final shape and placement until I knew it was just right. I worked with forms that are in my usual vocabulary and concentrated on how printing on clay would work with them and enhance them. This allowed me to focus on one thing, the surfaces of the pieces and how the surfaces work with the forms. I wanted the imagery to be bold, but not overpower the forms. I also know that when you're experimenting, you want to limit the number of choices you are experimenting with. So I decided to limit the color palette, choosing black, white, and red. I used a white clay and a very dark brown clay that looks almost black. I printed the images and shapes with red, white, and black underglazes, which are paints for clay. These showed up well against both clay bodies. I'm also always drawn to the textural opportunities with clay, so I added scratched-in lines and swirls in some areas. I also left some areas unglazed, as I love the juxtaposition of matte against shiny. The result of all this? An interesting shape that becomes even more interesting and invites the viewer to look closely and explore the different elements of the piece. All the work in this show is functional as well as decorative. I want people to feel comfortable using the pieces that I make, but also like to look at them just for looking at them. Playing and experimenting feeds our art and provides us with the time and freedom to create without the pressure of getting it just right. This is where the happy accidents happen that become part of our work. I took several months to do just that, and the results are what you see in the gallery in this new body of work. I do hope you'll come and see the show. Thank you.